Good morning, my name is Joanne Tanner and I'm coming to you from the Alliance, and I want to welcome you and thank you for stopping by. I am an empath, and I have to tell you, with the events of the last couple of weeks and listening to the heartfelt message from Eric on Monday and Andrew on Wednesday, I have been heartbroken. I've been nauseous and I have been pained beyond description. I truly don't understand why in the year 2020 we still have to be having this discussion. It breaks my heart that we are still addressing this issue, and I truly do not understand people who are still causing this to be an issue. The video of George Floyd comes out, and I don't know what makes that video more painful to watch. The fact that a man was having his life taken right in front of our eyes. The fact that we are watching someone being murdered by someone who has made the promise to serve and protect. Or for the fact that the person who promised to serve and protect seems to be committing this murder with absolutely no issues. We as Canadians hear about this and we are up in arms and think about the disgraceful behavior of those Americans. And we thank God that we live in Canada in a culture of love and respect for all people. And if you believe that, it's time you take off the rose-colored glasses and the blinders, because we are no better. Racism is just as rampant in Canada. The only difference is it doesn't make headlines. In a 10-minute search, these are some of the recent stories that I came across. An Indigenous man in Thunder Bay was assaulted in what local leaders are calling a hate crime. Two brothers, 19-year-old Janice Korhamzik and 27-year-old Adam Korhamzik, assaulted a 39-year-old Muslim man, beating him so badly that he ended up in hospital with facial fractures and had to have surgery to stop a brain hemorrhage. A video started making the rounds on social media that showed a white man preventing another man, this one was a man of color, from leaving a London grocery store. The white person called the police and requested that they come and arrest the man, as he would not show documents proving that he was allowed to be in Canada. Barbara Contender, a 34-year mother of Wibbagoon Lake of First Nations in Thunder Bay, was struck by a trailer hitch that was thrown at her from the window of a moving car as she walked down the side of the road. She died later in hospital. There was a white woman in Mississauga who demanded a white doctor and not one of those colors. A white woman in a Denny's in Lethbridge went on a rant because there was 3 friends who were talking in Derry. I'm unsure why we think we are immune to racism in Canada. Police-reported hate crimes have risen steadily over the past few years. Most hate crimes go unreported for fear of retaliation. In 2015, there was between 80 and 100 white supremacist groups spreading hate across Canada, numbers that any rational person would find far too high. Now, just 4 years later, experts say Canada's hate groups are approaching 300. Why is it happening? It's certainly not something that we're taught in Scripture. God's command is to judge not by appearance, but judge by right judgment. God created each of us as worthy and cares about every single person regardless of the color of their skin. Genesis 3 verse 28, there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male or female, for you are all one in Christ. Malachi 2 verse 10, have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? Why then are we faithless to one another, profaning the covenant of our fathers? Genesis 1 verse 27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. Revelations 5 verses 9 to 10. And they sang a new song, saying, worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals, For you were slain, and by your blood you ransomed for God from every tribe and language and people and nation, and you have made them all priests to our God, and they shall reign on the earth. What I find amazing is the innocence of children. It's truly beautiful. I saw a picture of two little 6-year-old boys. One was white, one was a young boy of color, and the caption said, "They got the same haircut so that their teacher couldn't tell them apart." And I came across another story, and it was about a little girl who was on her front doorstep, and she was madly waving at a FedEx truck that was driving by her house. And there was an African man driving the truck, and he was madly waving back at the little girl with a big smile on his face. And when the girl's mom came out and asked her what she was doing, she said, "Oh, I thought that man in the truck was Daddy, but that man had hair, and Daddy is bald." That's all they see. So where has our innocence gone? When did we lose it exactly? Nelson Mandela says no one is born hating in one another because of the color of their skin or his background or religion. People learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than the opposite. So when are we destroying the innocence of our children? When are we teaching them to hate based on the color of the skin, religion, languages spoken? I know for myself, and I'm pretty sure I speak for most, if not all of you, that is not something my children were taught, and it was certainly not something that was tolerated in our home. Unfortunately, I think the children whose innocence is being destroyed, the children who are being taught to hate, have parents that suffer very low self-esteem, who have great insecurities in themselves and their abilities, who have great resentment for anyone around them who they perceive as a threat. It's one of the characteristics of a narcissist. You make yourself feel better. You make yourself feel stronger and more secure by tearing down those around you. I don't pretend to know the answer, but I do know this. It's time we stand together. Teach love and acceptance. Reach out a hand to those who cannot protect themselves. Stand up and help those who are persecuted for no reason other than the color of their skin, their religion, the language they speak. It's time we all stood together and helped right some of the wrongs in this world. Martin Luther King Jr. was noted as saying, "I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." I also look forward to that day. Andrew asked the question on Wednesday, "Are you even there, God? Do you see what is going on?" And in these troubled times with so much going wrong, that's a fair enough question to ask. However, I think another question we should be asking is, do we see what is going on? And what are we going to do about it? Reading from 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 11, "Therefore encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing." So as you go through this week, stay blessed, stay safe, and be a blessing. Amen.